Hello, I'm John Steppens and I'm the lead developer of Tyrantagonist Games, totally a real company. I'm making a game. It's called Pluck. You can sort of see it here. And I thought I'd show off some features I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Last week I started a recording of me programming this feature, and I decided I didn't want another 5-hour video, so I actually stopped that about an hour and a half in. And I thought I was pretty close to finishing, but well, I've done a week's worth of work since that. I'm not entirely sure how this video is going to work yet, because I thought it should definitely be a standalone video, because I want to quickly go, hey, here's the new stuff. But obviously, I have to append this to the end of the other video as well. We'll see how that works. But potentially I'm repeating myself. Sorry about that, but I thought I'd better explain stuff just in case. So if you're wondering why it goes biff like that, it's because in the code I just turned the sound off. Because I've heard the music to this game a lot. Anyway, let's press new game and move my mouse away. So yes, in case you know nothing, well, this is the tutorial. In fact, the tutorial's the main thing I'm working on right now, because I think it's one of the things I didn't do very well in the last version of the game. So this arrow above Henry's head, I'm probably going to get rid of. It's a bit patronising, but you can. This is the new style of tutorial. So in case you know nothing about this game, it's going to be a puzzle platform. You can see the platforming here, and I can't really show you the puzzle because I've essentially broken that part of the game to get this part working. But yes, we can move. We can dismiss that tutorial. Basically, oh, my phone went off. Lovely timing. I'm going to pick up an object in a second over there, and it gives me the ability to take things. Oh, look, that cloud's drawn wrong. Let's say this cloud has a heart, and it makes the heart makes it solid. So with this object, I'll be able to take that heart out, and then I'll be able to fall through it as if nothing was there. And then maybe I could put it in another cloud, make it solid again, and I can use that to jump up. Right, that's the basic gimmick of the game, but maybe that heart makes things bouncy, or maybe it makes things swimmable. I don't know, it can have lots of things. That's the point. So, we jump up here. So here's another tutorial. It's telling me that the scanner's there, and how to use the scanner. So this is the heart scanner. And you'll notice a bunch of UI comes up. I can now, as that says, tilt the right analog stick, scan in that direction. Now, this is all stuff that I'd already programmed, but it's telling me to scan an inhabitant. So the new stuff, ignore that bit up there. We're going to remove that as well. It's this up here, which is vaguely new. Now, I'd already done some of it, which you would have seen in previous videos. But if we look at this object here, you'll note that now the magnifying glass, the focus bar, actually says words in it. Lovely. So I've done lots of little things, and I'm going to painstakingly explain them. So one thing is you may be hearing some no copyright music. I hope that's no copyright music. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be very frustrating. Otherwise, I have like a silent video. It's a bit weird. So yes, when I focus on an object, the cursor now remains. It used to just completely disappear because you're supposed to be looking at what it's focusing on. But now I've made it sort of see-through. It means for a moving object like that thing there, you can track it. So yes, you can now. The idea of the focus bar is just to give means I can sort of tutorialize littler things without having entire screen filling stuff. So I can just tell you it's a save point without having a massive thing. It says the name of the object and that it's active. If I restart the level and quickly run through these tutorials, if I scan it, it's dormant, so I actually have to touch it or it changes. One thing, which is a bit of an error, so if I look at that and I move it away, obviously the writing goes away, but if I just simply let go of my cursor, because it doesn't do anything, it keeps it still, it keeps the information on the screen, and I don't know if I want that or not, but it's not a super important error. Like as soon as I move the cursor again, it comes back. So I'm hoping you've noticed this brand new object here. Like, this is why it took me a week, because occasionally I go, I just need an object. It doesn't need to look like anything. And then I painstakingly draw it and animate it. We're going to come back to that. So if I look down here, so you can see... Actually, let's go back to this first. I want to explain what I've done. So you'll notice the writing is smaller there to indicate that these are... That Who on the Witness is a sort of header, it's a title, active is an important title, but this is a save point is the focus writing, it's the text underneath the titles. But if we go to this ledge, you'll notice that now it will slide, it will cascade those things in, which is something I wasn't originally going to do. Cascading was only going to happen with those signposts, these ones here that I'm deliberately not pointing at just yet. But I decided it's just too hard to not ever have too much writing. So now it's painstaking. There's a lot of code dedicated to finding out whether an object has enough writing to pull out more banners, as I call them. You'll notice, hopefully, if you've been paying attention. If you haven't, I'll explain the menu. Let's get off this because reasons. So in the top right hand corner, those two bars have like a square with a dot in. So you can see the square, it's a circle, whatever. A white circle with a grey dot and a grey circle with a white dot. And the whole idea is when I do the tutorial, I can say this is the title of the object that you're scanning, and this is what's inside the object you're scanning. And then there's like very simple, the simplest drawings, icons I could do. Because the big icons technically mean different things. That big icon there says it's a monolith. As if I look at this, that's a faceless. You see, it gets a different icon. So I realised, okay, I'm gonna have to actually put a second icon there. So yes, but you also notice, hopefully, so there's little writing on. You can jump down through the ledges, which is true, and you can jump up through the ledges, also true. I need to draw a little picture to tell people that the down button does that as well. And you might be thinking, well, if you have to draw a picture, surely you could have done that as a big tutorial. So I just don't want to have big tutorials for everything, alright? I've done 2 weeks of stuff, so I didn't have to do 5 minutes of drawing. Anyway, so yes, the small writing is in those bottom 2 bars, but I had to change the font. And I'm not super clear on that font, where it says Ledges. So it's not the same font as where it says Active, but it's not small writing, and I'll play around with the font. The other thing is, because I've got everything at different bloody lines, like I'd managed to put ledges in the middle there, but when we scan these things, finally, so let's scan that. I've tried to center it, like I can fiddle around, but the problem is, there's just less space. So you can see the font is slightly different, but I have to play around with the font. So I might have that magnifying glass actually come out a little bit more so I can have the full bar, so I can just have everything centered. Like those top 2 don't need to be centered, they're their own thing, but these 3 and these 5, are these 6 even? Yes. You can see they're centered. And they cascade in and out. Now, this code is actually what took the most time. Cascading wasn't too hard to do. So, there's numbers involved as well, so it doesn't just slide at a uniform speed, it actually slows down once it reaches the end. But I've got to fiddle with those numbers. But the problem is, if you do this, if you go on and off, sometimes it breaks. And I tried for like literally a goddamn week to go, why is there a bar stuck in the middle? Continue bar, there's no reason for you to ever be in the middle. And then I went, screw it, I don't care. If it takes more than a second, just go to where I need it to be. So you see where it whipped back? That was the code. That's an error, by the way. That's the code going, oh, you want it back. So it is supposed to go back faster. So there's the speed. That takes about, I don't know, 2 seconds. That takes 2 seconds. But if you start scanning and then change your mind, it will actually go back slightly quicker. What happens is, if for some reason that code there, which I was going to fix before that video, but maybe it's a good illustration. There you go. You can see it right there. That's not an error technically, because I programmed that in. That's the fail-safe. If it's taking too long, it just whips it back. But obviously that fail-safe doesn't need to kick in for another second or so. And it's probably because the counter, it starts counting there and continues counting there. So I need it to reset the counter. Which should be reasonably easy. But I'm not going to do it in this video because this is not a programming video, this is a showcasing video. But here's the other thing that complicated everything. So if I move from there to there, that's fine because there's only one piece of information. Let's quickly go there, although that shouldn't whip away so far. If I go from there to there, it will... Let's go there to there. So they'll go blank and then it will come back, which is a feature because it used to have the writing on it, got confused. Lots of... Like, here's the thing. It's just lots of messy little things that'll look bad if I don't fix them that you don't really consider. But, like, I just had to spend a lot of time going, look, some people are just going to scan like this, and I just need it to work in those cases and it to not look too bad. That's why this cursor goes like that, so you can continue scanning like that. I encourage you not to go off and on, off and on, and off and on. But here's a second feature, which I wanted all along, so I can close it down. Now, I don't know why it goes red. Red is not like an off color. It needs to go a dull grey, doesn't it? So, if I turn that off, it doesn't give you the text for that or for that. Because the whole idea is that that's additional information. It's not always tutorial. In fact, most of the time, it's just going to be flavor text. So turn it off if you don't care. You can turn it on. There's a little kind of weirdness with that one where it has to do the slide bar and then do that. And it's the same for this. Where I can turn that on and off. Oh, the other thing is, yeah, I can do it halfway through. It's fine. In the same way I can do this. Oh, and yes, but these are signposts. So it doesn't matter if that's off. The signposts will always show the text because the only reason to look at a signpost is to read the signpost. Otherwise, it's just going to say Arcane Sigil, which is my name for a signpost. I did have to draw a new picture for that book. It's the testament symbol and the eye because I realised. So in the game, hearts usually contain like clay hearts. Here it says empty heart over there. That's if I take a heart and put it in here, it'll put it in that object. And sometimes I was like, oh yeah, I can have the heart sort of count numbers. So I have like a third, 2/3, and I can have on and off. But it just didn't make any sense for the sign, so I just put an eye symbol there. I drew a new thing. Like that might change. So guidance there means that this is tutorial text, even though this clearly isn't. It's example text. Makes slightly more sense of this. So yeah, programming the Arcane Sigil, because I couldn't just have a sign, I needed to have an entire system with animation and stuff. That's the main feature. It randomizes between 12 runes, which took me longer than I care to say to draw, and I'm still not totally happy with them. Yeah. That's basically it. Things like this. So there's the focus banner. Press the right button to hide the focus banner. So the very last thing I programmed was the ability to turn it off while it's focused. That's turning it on. Those colours are confusing. So it starts off. I scan that. I turn it on, and then when I turn it off, only peels away those last two because the scanner's still on. I feel like it probably doesn't look complex, but the problem is these are all like different systems that now have to interact each other and not break, and that's what's taken me a week. They don't break. So I'm sure this isn't terribly exciting, but it took me a long time, and I'm hoping it will improve my game a lot. That I can now just have these little tutorial things to supplement. I don't know why I had to close that because I was trying to show it. To supplement these big tutorials. This is how big tutorials are how to play the game, and the little tutorials are the minutiae that I can just remind people. I'd say those icons. I'm probably never going to use that many bars, but I programmed them just in case. And if I ever wanted story, that's how I'm going to deliver some of it. So yeah, there you go. That didn't take very long. 15 minutes. Not the most exciting thing in the world because this part of the game making process isn't terribly exciting, I won't lie, because it's not the game bit, it's just the bit around it, it's the GUI. But yeah, I'm happy with it, and I'm going to put it online. So I'm going to let you go now. And before I let you go, I guess I should show you a little bit of the code. What was it? You know what, I might just leave it. I think you can see these green bits was me trying to make it so the banners keep sliding, because sometimes this code is really simple. It just says, is the banner to the right? Is it supposed to be going left? Move it to the left. And this bit of code says, has it started moving to the left? Well, I'd continue, please. And just me trying to come up with different variations of, please go to the place I want you to go, not understanding why it's stopping. And eventually, this is the bit of code here, the clock. The clock says, what's the banner clock? Oh yes, I set the clock up here, I think. Where did I set the clock? Oh, the clock is set here. So 13 seconds. Oh, no, not 13 seconds. 13 steps. If this isn't finished, it's just going to go where it's supposed to anyway. And that's how I solve the problem. It's a band-aid. It's duct tape. It's not quite what I want, but the game's playable and won't crash. And to be honest, the only way you're going to see that error is if you're deliberately going out your way to scan multiple things in quick succession, which hopefully they shouldn't even be that close. I do have to redesign the start of the tutorial with these new elements in mind, because now I have to tutorialise the tutorial. I have to tell people what the GUI does and how to press the button, something like that, in a way that doesn't overwhelm people. And that's the biggest worry now, that I'm accidentally built a system that's going to make tutorials as complex as the thing I was trying to avoid in the first place. But I think it's better. You can go back, you can reread it if you want. Yeah. I don't think I really need to show you anything else. One error I spent ages trying to fix was I wanted these to be one bit of code, right? There's one bit of code for the signs, and if I go into here, I can change the words, right? Because I want to change the words for each individual one. I don't want to program a new object. And I couldn't get it working. I was like, why is this system not working? I was putting it in the creation code, which is something I haven't used since I realised variables sort of did it much better, which is why variables wasn't in an earlier version of GameMaker, like for a year before I started. And then I found out later on that wasn't the thing breaking it. The thing breaking it was that I used. What did I use? Basically, there's a bit of code. Hang on, it's not in here, is it? It's scan heart, I think. So if we open up scan heart, I'm showing you the secrets now. So this object isn't what you're scanning. This creates a new object that you scan. It's called scan heart, which is like a standardized thing that you scan. And in this code, see, it has a picture that doesn't even represent it because you never see that picture. You can delete that now. Please. Yeah. So layer equals whatever. That broke it. It just hated the fact there were two of them on the screen. Now I just had to do this, which does the same thing. So there's an example of something that it took me ages to figure out, because some of it's my inexperience. Because as soon as I had this in the game, in fact, I'll show you. I'll show you what happens if I have this instead of this. Normally when I get an error, no, actually I'll show you what happens when I get an error first. Brian equals Dave. Right? We'll play the game. We'll see what happens if Brian equals Dave. I don't know why I picked those two names. I just want to show you what an error does, so I can kind of explain why it was difficult for me to solve that error. Hopefully this will give me the error. The problem is, it's going to give me an error because it doesn't know what Dave is. Which is, it's going to say that Brian's only been referenced once, which is not the error. We're going to load up the game, and it's not going to work. There we go. And that's wonderful, because I can... That'll say, right here, this isn't working. That's all that says. That says, that's not been set. There's no such thing as a Dave. Right? So, like, when errors like that happen, that's great. I can just go to the thing and go, ooh, why? What have I done wrong? But what this did... Oh, and if I go into debug mode, it will literally open up the correct bit for me to look at. Very nice. Let's do that. Let's open up debug. This isn't really my taste of music, but like, beggars can't be choosers. And I'm sure somebody likes this music. Lots of people do. It's got lots of views and stuff. But I didn't want it to be silent in the background. It's kind of eerie having like that sort of silence. I'm going to make the screen smaller, which I can do. I've got a button for that. When I open up the game now, press new game, I'm going to do that. Now, what I should have done, and I would have figured out, would have done it once and not been. So if I pause right now, I can see the code that it's running through. This is a standard script. In fact, I didn't even write this, which is why it's so professional. It's a script that means you can oscillate two numbers, basically. It's quite good. But I can run through like this, and I should have realised it's going through here. And I was like, I don't know what the error is. Like, well, so what it's doing, it's looping forever. It's never going to leave this section. So that should have told me that something in this section was wrong, which is how I eventually realised what was wrong. But it didn't, because I hadn't encountered that in a while. I was just looking for the error message, and it wasn't giving me one. So that game will never open. Anyway, I wasn't going to show any programming, but I thought I'd show a little bit just to do the process. But yeah. I'm now excited. There's still bits for me to do in the tutorial, but I can now hopefully build the tutorial without having to build any new stuff. What I am going to have to do though is I'm going to have to move that save point. I'm going to have to move that cloud somewhere else because I need to teach people how to read the signs and what all the icons mean, and then I can come back to the other stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Pluck. I'm John Steppens. I have no idea how long this game's going to take, but I'm hoping to make a demo soon. I'm going to actually put it out on the internet. This is my intention. All the other demos have only gone out to people I know, and I'm trying to make a demo that I can show people on the internet, which is why I made this YouTube channel. So yeah, thank you for watching.